It's time for the Samhain Festival, and unfortunately, it's going to be the last time we're going to be visiting Luna Nova for a little while. Welcome back to the land of magic. Reach out! And our after show will begin. It's the Little Witch Academia after show, and it starts right now.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AfterBuzz TV. And now, let the buzz begin!
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Little Witch Academia after show. Since this is the mid-season finale, gotta start with the end. Honestly, there's sometimes when you just skip over an end song of an anime, but this one, it's way too pretty. And here we go. Welcome to the show. I'm one of your hosts, the internet's Mark Donica. You can find me on Twitter at MarkBDonica. And joining us, we got the full squad. First, Stacey Shuttleworth.
Hey guys, I'm Stacey Shuttleworth. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Stacey Shuttles.
And Rachel Goodman.
Hi guys, I'm Rachel. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Rach Goodman or on Facebook at Rachel Ann Goodman.
Can you believe it's only been 3 weeks? This is our 4th week doing the show. This is nuts.
Yeah.
Been through a lot.
I don't want it to be over.
I was really sad at that ending.
There's many reasons why I'm sad at that ending,
Right.
but we're gonna get there.
not the jump.
No, yeah. So we're gonna be talking about season 1, episode 13, the Samhain Festival. It is the mid-season finale for the Netflix version of the season. We do know that the entire season is out in Japan. We're in America. We've got to follow the rules. We're not going to go find illegal streams, and for those of you who have, we're not saying that you're bad people, but sometimes you make bad choices. We're going to talk about season 13, episode 13, where we think the show is going to go from here, and we've got a wonderful chat room full of people, and in case you're listening to this after the fact, just so you know, we record the show live. So the best way to find this show and keep track of the show is to follow AfterBuzz TV on Twitter or follow all of us on our respective Twitters that we just gave. We're going to give those Twitters again, but also to follow the hashtag ABTVLWA. That is how we've sort of been keeping the community together and lumping all of our posts together. So make sure to follow that hashtag. We're only talking about the one episode today, so we can take our time. We're not in a big rush. Stacey, since you didn't join us for our last block last week, what did you think of 9 through 12?
It's picking up steam. We're getting a lot of character progression, and I really like that. And I still have a lot more questions.
Of course.
There's more, always.
Andrew returned.
Andrew did return. That was a whole ball of crazy.
What did you think about the shipping episode? Essentially.
Seriously.
The ship spell.
They covered everything they could. They really were all inclusive with their shipping options. You could shop around a little, see what you liked.
I can say I still think that's my favorite episode now. Now that we've seen all of them, well, at least all of them right now, that my favorite episode has not changed.
Yeah,
that's the one.
They keep. I don't know, man. I don't know. I like the majority of the episodes. I think they all stand above, and then a couple of the other ones are just like a hair below them. But this one being such a culmination of what this part of the season has been so far, I think it fulfills a lot of different things while still leaving it open for the second half of the season. Especially when it came to Ursula and Akko's relationship, when it came to Akko just studying her butt off and practicing her butt off to make sure that she can get some form of transformations off. And they were adorable!
Hey, there you go, girl.
All right, so let's get started. We got a strategy meeting with the girls. They're on the sacrifice team for the Samhain Festival. Not the best place that they want to see themselves in, but they're trying to figure out how to deal. Who watched in English? Did anybody watch in English? No, Japanese?
No.
Okay,
Yeah.
So we're all going to go with Verahoa as the pronunciation because that's what it sounded like in Japanese. If that wasn't English pronunciation, sorry. But we start to see a little bit of a rift between the girls because Akko's like, we're going to make it have fun, it's going to be great, and we're going to bring it out of this sadness that it's been in. And the other two are like, why do you want to try, essentially, why do you want to try hard so much? Why do you want to keep putting in so much more effort when we don't have to do that. We have a very specific job. This is our assignment. We have to do this. Why do you have to be so happy, so happy to put in like 200%? Mm-hmm. What did y'all think of this scene?
I mean, I thought it was, again, very telling of how, like, people who were raised as witches in the community with magic as a part of their life, and then Akko coming in with a completely new and fresh attitude towards it, questioning why things are, instead of just looking at me like, oh, that's a tradition, so we go with it, because it's a tradition, which seems to be very, much the mindset of everybody else at Luna Nova, teachers and students included. So to see them clash like that, and I also thought it was really refreshing that, like, yes, they're really close friends, but they'll also, like, at some point you have to draw the line when you have the one friend who's, like, going above and beyond, like, let's do this and this and this and this. Like,
someone who volunteers for, like, let's do the most work, but they physically can't. So that means that they're essentially making more work for you.
And that's kind of what I really liked about this moment, is that we kind of see a change with her friends. Finally, even though I know that they don't really think she can do it still, but there's sort of a point where they're starting to change and they're starting to support her and go along with her, and they no longer were saying, you can't do this, no, no, no. Finally, it was, okay, we'll do it with you. Even though Susie was Susie and Lotte was still Lotte, they are at least supporting their friend, and they finally come together and decided that they're going to go all the way.
You're going way ahead. We're on this scene. I appreciate it. I appreciate the enthusiasm. Everything as it comes. Because it wasn't just this conversation that pulls them to that. Akko goes to Ursula for a little bit of, hey, my friends are really not against me, but I'm trying to do something different. I'm trying to make this fun. I still want to be the best person that I can. Whereas Ursula's like, but if she wants to do this, that means she's gonna learn this magic, which is gonna unlock that third word. So yeah, do your best. There a lot of subtext in her, do your best, and a lot of the glasses being covered or like animated over and seeing her eyes at various things. I love that subtext of her too.
Yeah, that's a nice tell. We're getting some truth dropped right now.
Yeah.
See her eyes, it's real.
And there are even certain times where we see her eyes, but they're not as red. And I like that too. It's like her eyes have her own character as well.
Yeah, and she's still trying to hide. And just the more that they keep comparing, when we see Chariot versus Ursula, they kind of look very different, even though we now know they're the same people. Yeah. So it's really interesting what they're doing with that, especially with the glasses.
No, definitely agreed. And it's implying that she has something to hide, and the fact that they're playing with it now, and it's not just eyes covered, eyes full, but eyes covered, eyes shown, but not as colorful, and then eyes just like fiery red.
The full intensity of
full fire.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, on our way back from visiting Ursula, we knew this was going to happen, or we hoped something like this was going to happen, not necessarily in the most positive way, but Hannah and Barbara hold her accountable for the terrible trick that they played upon her. They ended up staying in the what is it called, the quad overnight. And instead of like beating her up or berating her, like, you know what? We're going to let you off easy because we can't wait to see the entire school laugh at you and your friends. They refer to them as the loser trio. Yeah. And as this is happening, Lotte and Susie are walking by, and that's no fun for anybody.
Invisible Lotte.
Yeah. Poor
girl.
Yeah.
Poor girl.
Yeah.
There's a lot of sadness here. But that's because it brings you down to bring you back up.
Well, yeah, and although Susie cracking her neck, I thought she was going to throw down.
Seriously.
Throw down.
Just beat some butt. And I thought it was like going to be neck and then like fists and then full stretching. And then even just like a simple like flick and then mushrooms on their head or like something.
Yeah.
Mushrooms fill the room.
That I just want that as someone's going to fight somebody. GIF or something like that. And then we see that Hannah and Barbara's words really starting to affect Lotte. She can't sleep. But we also see that Akko is out every single night working her butt off, but she still ends up showing up to school and class, but is falling asleep, trying to do spells in her sleep. And that's also starting to affect Lotte as well.
I gotta love that throwback, because at first she was falling asleep because she thought it was boring and it wasn't the fun magic, and now she's just working so hard that she can't help but to fall asleep. So
and that's like we didn't get a teacher like trying to wake her up.
Yeah.
So maybe there's a little. We don't know what class it was, of course, but maybe if it was an Ursula class, it's like, okay, I know. I'll catch this up with her later.
And no one in general was trying to wake her up or basically, make fun of her for this now. Suddenly, they understand that it's because she's working so hard, and they view her a little bit differently, even though they still seem to think she can't do it. But at least now, she's starting to present this image that she's trying really hard.
And maybe it's also a thing where everybody's worried about their own presentation for the Samhain Festival and their own grades, and as a result, it's just we don't have time to care about Akko because she's the crazy kid.
Yeah.
The absolute mad person. We see that everything's starting to come together at the school. Decorations are going up, stages, seats. And Ursula is on this quest while all of the prep is happening to find out where this curse came from, so maybe it can be lifted. And while she's on her search, that's when Lotte and Susie are having their conversation about Akko and about them. And like you mentioned before, Stacey, it's great to see people have these real conversations of friendship, and it's not always like we do everything together, we're the best of friends, and especially with Susie and Akko's relationship being as interesting as it is. It was nice for them to still have a conversation with Akko there by seeing what her plan was under her stack of books that she was studying with again, but then at the same time getting to see Akko at the breaking point. Now, did anybody, when that frame of Akko's perspective and it started to get like misty and watery, did anybody else go, "Oh no, dear, no, no, no"?
Wait, it's okay, it's gonna be
it's gonna be fine. Yeah, and right as she starts to cry, Susie and Lotte come and say, "All right, we know your plan. Let's change it up. We'll be your support. You do all the transformation magic, and we'll come together as friends." And there's like an underlying message of what Akko has been trying to convey to everybody of why can't, like, magic should be fun as well. It has its uses, but let's try to enjoy it.
Yeah, well, especially after the last episode, I think it was, where she finally realizes that Chariot was doing these things because she enjoyed magic. So I feel like that came back into play in this episode, and that it kind of all tied in. And it almost seemed too like Akko, even though she was trying extra hard and they realized this is what they were going to do, it seems like it was inspired by what Akko saw in the last episode, and that it's all coming around full swing.
Yeah, especially with Lotte saying, you reminded me of what it was like when I first got to talk to a spirit. And, like, Akko, because she is still so new into the world of magic, whereas the rest of these girls are all, they're 15 years into knowing magic and, like, it just being a regular part of the day. It's entirely possible that they've forgotten about that, especially because it's school, it's sort of like working a job where it's like, oh, I thought, this is going to be fun, and then you slowly start the honeymoon slowly ends, and you're like, oh, this is a job, this isn't fun, this is to serve a purpose. And really quickly before we continue, Miraculous Corazon in chat says, Akko crying broke my heart. Montserrat says, I almost cried with Akko. And a new member of the chat, which I don't think I've seen before, A. Kassad says, Akko needs Mama Ursula cuddles. Easman, Akko is our little baby. They grow up so fast. And Iksad says again, I can relate. I go to an all-girls school, and it's making sure that person is behind you in grades because you want to look the best at colleges. Yeah. So in terms of nobody paying attention, it's like, doesn't matter. I got to take these notes so that I can advance and get to a good magic career. But yeah, these type of scenes, as much as I love all of the magic and everything, where the girls' personalities get to come together and come through and be friends, I love this type of stuff. That's what made me enjoy this franchise in the first place. We have the beginning of the festival, where Diana is just making sure that everything goes out without a hitch. Now, of course, there were our 3 main guest witches that were super design heavy, but did anybody notice any other witches that were like, I want to know more about that person? Or were the 3 judges people you want to know more about?
I thought it was kind of interesting that we did see a couple of witches come in that looked a little flashier than what we've come to understand as acceptable in this culture. So we know that Shiny Chariot has kind of been exiled and ridiculed because she was flashy and fun, but then seeing some of the witches come in and have maybe not quite as flashy, but still definitely more out there personalities.
Sure, the rock star was one of the subtitles used.
So, and even though they were flashy, they also seemed like they were kind of down to earth too, because they weren't being as judgmental as what I thought when they said in the last episode that we were going to see all these famous celebrity witches. They seemed like better characters.
Sure, and it did seem like with these 3, it was more of a it's time for the festival again, I guess. Yeah, let's go.
Yeah.
Not as much excitement.
That tradition.
Yeah.
Very little deviance.
I guess we gotta go to Luna Nova again.
Back we go.
Back we go.
Not this time of year.
We see Ursula. We see Ursula is still searching, and we got our girls, Amanda Constance, and Jasminka, rocking the heck out of garbage duty.
Man, that was the most stylish garbage collecting I think I've ever seen.
You got to make the best of it.
Oh, and they did.
When they said garbage duty, I was not expecting that.
Yeah, and I didn't expect like a slime ritual with a gross face.
Yeah.
Did any of the showings stand out to you?
They were all so just. I mean, they were meant to be just. Oh, okay.
Witch things.
Sure. Sure.
It almost seemed more like, even though it was trash and, slime, it almost seemed more glamorous than what I was expecting when they were talking about what was going to happen.
Yeah. And everybody being like, oh, we get to do this thing, we get to do this. And you're like, what? That's weird.
And here it is, and it actually seemed more exciting than what they made it sound like.
A. Cassad says it's like coming back to Spirit Week. Or Homecoming Week. I was like, yeah except for
definitely.
All right. Nobody wants to be at Homecoming Week.
You think it'd be more fun for them at least. They've got magic.
Yeah.
Not in this world. Like.
But that's the thing. It's gotten banal. It's gotten basic. It's like nothing. It's not as magical as Shiny Chariot made it seem.
Yeah. And didn't one of the witches even say, one of the celebrity witches, they said, oh, they're using old magic.
Nothing's new. Nothing's fresh. Everything is a tradition. No, I like the theme better. No, we shouldn't have come in on the Fiddler on the Roof.
That would have been awesome.
Yeah. So as night continues to come, and midnight is when we will have our sacrificial ceremony. We get to the Diana portion, which is this gorgeous, beautiful water summoning or unicorn summoning magic that finally seems to wake people back up. No surprise.
Of course.
Diana.
I love her.
No.
I love her. No.
Why do you have to be so good?
She's like,
When the last
Diana.
eagle flies. Shout out to your shirt. And your wedding, actually. That was still amazing. That was a random thing to say. Anyway. No, how much of a unicorn nerd are you?
Pretty unicorn nerd. I mean, what qualification there?
Yeah, that's pretty. I mean, I think it was really funny at your wedding. You had a reading from The Last Unicorn.
I did.
Which was pretty amazing. Standing there in rehearsal, like, that's metal as hell. and then when watching the some of the heads in the crowd was now reading from The Last Unicorn.
Whatever, man.
What,
it's my favorite book. Get on my back. like, if I want to read a passage from Last Unicorn, I've gotta.
That's the fun of it. I want to see more of that magic, but at the same time, it seems just like a flashier version of the transformation magic that Diana did in class, where she made the stallion. So even here, it's like, oh, I'm just doing
all very technical, very beautiful, but very technical, very that detached kind of following the process.
Yeah. Well, it's like, you know how this is a random thing coming into my head, but in the movie Sing, for example, one of the characters, they get up there and they're singing, but their actual body language is doing absolutely nothing. And the comment they got was, well, nice voice, but that performance was boring. And I kind of feel like Diana, she just stood there and just was very like stoic and calm, and there wasn't much emotion that I could see on the outside with her. And to me, it might have been better if she had been giving a little bit more. Now, I know that's Diana, so of course she's not going to, but yeah, it was a wonderful performance, but on her end, she was just very, like, to me, she was very flat and didn't do much.
Yeah. Poor girl. Even though we're only halfway done with the season, I would like season 2 to be the exact same story, the exact same period of time, but all from Diana's point of view, so that we can get her inner monologue.
That'd be interesting.
I would adore that. I think she's such a fascinating character. And I mean, even because we've gotten little glimpses into her mind now through Akko being a little nosy. Thank goodness for Akko. But yeah, to kind of see how Diana views it. And I also do feel like she does have that passion, but she just doesn't get to show it, or hasn't been like told that she can. So she keeps it very technical, very professional.
And we'll talk a little bit more about Diana when we get to the end. But right before they went on stage, they noticed that Susie and Lotte were by themselves. There was no Akko, and they're like, what? So she left you stranded here. Now, this was one of the few times in this entire season so far where I think Diana may have gone a little bit too far.
I agree.
A little bit.
Yeah, I was a little surprised. And I mean, I could chalk it up to her being all stressed out, because I mean, we saw how many people were coming to her and depending on her. So any little puzzle piece out of alignment at this point could tip someone over the edge.
Yeah, so it made sense. She's like, she's not here. Of course she would. But then that last, how pathetic. That's where it's like, okay, all right, bring it back a little bit. We're not. This isn't one of those things where Hannah and Barbara misinterpreted what you said, or one of the teachers misinterpreted what you said. Yeah, you're just super stressed.
It might just be me, but I feel like Diana is actually starting to get a little threatened by Akko. Even though Akko isn't up to par with her and her ability, I feel like Diana's starting to think and realize that there's something deeper inside Akko that could allow her to surpass her and her magic and allow Akko to become the better student. So that's kind of how I'm seeing it, is that deep down Diana is kind of emotional and does have a lot of maybe negative thoughts, maybe because of her past that we don't know. And that when she says things like that, it's because, not just because Akko's not there and she should be, but also because of this like deeper inner resentment that maybe she hasn't even allowed herself to like fully realize she has toward this character, toward Akko.
Makes perfect sense. Makes 100%. Good call. But Lotte doesn't let that stand. Says when Akko puts her mind to something, she sees it through no matter what. And it's like, oh, okay, cool, more friendship. Actually, Eastman brings up okay, no, we'll come back. Eastman asks that again once we're done talking about their segment, because that is a very good thing. A single-sex school is all about sabotage, says Akasad. I love your perspective on this. Please come back when we do the next franchise, the next half of the season. Absolutely love to have more of your perspective. Now, when Akko starts presenting it like, oh, welcome to the sacrifice part of the show.
Complete opposite of
Beautiful
Diana.
girl.
Yeah.
Beautiful girl.
I loved it.
Wonderful cinnamon roll girl. Just like turning it into her own version of a charity performance, seemingly.
Yep.
And everybody's like, wait, what is going on? And then character who's been slowly climbing up the favorites list, Miranda, our principal, holds back the teacher's like, hold on.
Let her go.
Give it a second.
Plus, all the students were liking it. So,
Yeah, this is like, what is that? This is supposed to be boring. All right, let's see what happens.
Yeah, it was another spark of excitement. So, I mean, you know, if I was the principal, I'd kind of be like, yeah, no, let's keep going. This is what we want. This is good.
This is the last one, for God's sake. Also, seeing her, Miranda being able to see their what their, or Akko's over excess in excitement for the magic and the magic community becoming so personal to her and being able to see her father one more time, you know, like that's, you know, she has a little bit more of an understanding.
Yeah.
Well, also, as a performer, there's that whole fake it till you make it. So maybe
got that.
she had the confidence whether she was going to do something great or not.
No, I don't. Akko, and while I do agree with that concept, I don't think Akko was faking anything in the least bit. I don't think she wasn't like. I don't think she at that point. I don't think she was nervous because the confidence that she had going up on that stage and being face to face with Diana and going, you just watch.
Yeah.
It's your turn to watch me.
She had her moment.
Yeah. That I don't think there was any faking. That was her, she was putting her heart on the line and said, no matter what happens, my friends have my back. Everybody's here to watch me. Time to perform. Time to channel a little bit of Chariot, and let's have ourselves a show. Did anybody think that the false finish of Verahoa swallowing her is like, okay, completely new plan? Did anybody think?
Yeah, I was like, oh, okay, guess she's working the magic from the inside earlier than I expected.
Yeah, I mean,
good.
I knew they weren't going to actually, like, pass through, though. I knew something was going to happen that was going to stop it. And especially when we saw, you know, the shiny rod getting involved, I was like, yeah, no, something's going to happen.
Yep.
We saw Akko turn into a mouse to escape first. Everybody's like, whoa, what? Everybody's just super confused. And then she turned into a flying elephant, which every voice that Akko did, or the way that her voice changed.
It was hilarious.
Every time, it was adorable. And the hippo being just a little bit. Oh, thank you, Lotte Susie. Thank you so much. Like,
It was hilarious.
adorable. But she was just trying to make Verahoa laugh. Didn't like, look, come on, let's have some fun, enjoy yourself. But that seemed just to anger Verahoa more and more and more. But Ursula finds her thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. In this case, Akko's heart was definitely in it. She had good intentions, but it would not have. It wouldn't have helped.
It would have helped if we had a little bit of the brain of Luna Nova, Diana involved in some point.
This is why they need to work together. And had she not been so stressed out and like thrust into this leadership position, then it probably, you know, that would have been her role. I suspect.
She was probably just sitting in the back with a clipboard, like, what do we do?
What is happening?
Where are our emergency exits? We need to make sure that everything is fine.
Not very good on the spot.
Yeah.
No. Lotte does a little bit of assistance by adding the balloons to make sure that Akko stays in the air.
Great.
And then we get, of course, some mushrooms peppering the field. They give I almost said a different word, Verahoa, a little bit of hair, a little bit of greenery, a little bit of cuteness, and the elephant Akko is lost. Like, come on, let's have some fun. But they eventually, on their way... No, okay. A couple of things happen. Ursula finds the thing, finds out how to break the curse, gets back to them as they are falling from the sky, as they're knocked out of the air. They get told, oh, it's a seed of sadness. Pluck it out. Everything will be fine. Swallowed. And the happiest that Susie has ever been.
Yeah. Oh, man. Thrilled.
Yeah.
She wanted to be swallowed by that thing the entire episode. Yeah. She was, why are you changing our plans? Yeah. No. We're being swallowed by the ghost and dripped out. This needs to happen.
That's the best emoji. I just want that little pill face of Susie as like a...
All three of them.
Yeah, it's the entire range of emotions in 3 heads.
I'm going to say I kind of identify with Susie on that one because that's a really unique experience.
And if you go in like with... You're gonna be absolutely fine.
Yeah, because there was no threat of danger or anything.
Exactly.
So, but of course they didn't want to follow the plan.
I feel like, it would not be the worst thing in the world to experience that once. I'd probably not feel the same once I was like sliding through, but like thinking about it, it's like.
And now I can also imagine, in like the coming episodes, Susie like not washing her uniform or like her formal robes just to be like, I can still smell it. It's still a little squishy, or like something like that.
Oh, you're probably right, and that's gross.
Yep.
Oh, Susie.
Man, so they find the seed, and we get the third spell, which we find out about in the previous episode. Aria. I'll just say that's correct. Which we notice on the shiny rod, the third stone becomes lit, and it turns into a giant grabbo arm, to which the girls all together pull it out, and huge explosion of light, and Verho remembers her life. Anybody think that she looked a little bit like Princess Bubblegum from Adventure Time?
Like a lot.
A lot.
Like a lot.
It almost reminded me of Beauty and the Beast in the very beginning when the Enchantress, or when she shows up. It kind of reminded me of that almost. A little bit different, but she just kind of looked like that to me.
The way, the way that she stood.
Yeah.
I can see that.
I kind of felt like as soon as all of this was happening and that seed had been removed, I kind of guessed that that's what they were going to do with it, and they were going to show us someone who was, the exact opposite of like a depressed person.
Yeah. Finally able to remember the good times, Yeah. They self-planted the seed of sadness just so that she would never forget her friends, but there's a wonderful lesson in there because it's not just the fact that they're gone, but the times that you had with them while they were here that can keep you happy and put you at peace. Still a little bit sad, even though we didn't know anything about her. It was still like, oh, that's so sad. But Princess Bubblegum aside, the girls get a standing ovation from everybody. Throughout the whole time, the guests were like, oh, this is new, this is interesting, and laughing at all of the like light form changes that Akko was going through.
Akko's bad magic, which they had no problem pointing out.
Like, those transformations are awful. This is awful. This is the best.
So great, yeah.
And I like how it's everybody but the 2 teachers on either side of Miranda that are applauding. They're just like, this is awful. This is terrible.
Even the celebrity witches were enjoying it.
They were super into it. Only the teachers that are like, no, we have to be formal and serious.
Akko again. She ruined our event. Now there'll never be another sacrificial. We need to come up with a new part of the show. Well, now, from a scheduling point of view, you don't have to have content all the way till midnight, where people are going to be bloody exhausted. You can have something start during the day. Once it starts to go down, have a couple of things at night, then send people home happy, have a barbecue. Whatever. Why not?
Yeah.
We're changing the Samhain Festival if we even have it again. But now we're back to Diana, who has been in the back watching all of this go, and she looks really upset. Like, not just like, she did a better job than me, but just like genuinely lost. She just looks lost.
I think it might come back to what she saw in the future. Maybe this is part of what she saw, and it leads to something really bad.
Oh. Like a foreshadowing.
Well, I don't know, because you did say, why am I feeling this way? I don't know why I'm feeling like this. So maybe it was part of her vision, but I think we would have gotten a check of, this is just like the thing I saw.
That's true.
But no, but it's still a good analysis.
Yeah.
So the question earlier that Eastman posted that I had them bring back was, is Diana jealous because she wasn't chosen by the shiny rod?
I think that's entirely possible. I mean, we know that Diana was a Shiny Chariot fan.
Yeah.
So.
Well, we don't necessarily know in this one yet.
She's in the opening scene in the audience in one of Chariot's shows.
Okay,
as a little girl.
But that was because I haven't gone back and watched. Was that in the series too?
In this, it was the very first episode.
Okay, so it wasn't the series.
Yes,
it
was here. It was here.
Because I don't remember because it was that whole first couple of episodes is just a blur.
I went back and checked.
Okay, all right.
No, she is in the audience. It's her. It looks. She's got the two-tone hair and everything.
And it's also they're very good. Just like traditional animation, they make sure your eye can catch.
Yeah.
Because it's a little bit more detailed than the rest of the audience. Did you see that?
I didn't.
Okay.
So I didn't know.
Go back. It's awesome. The first time, I should say, the first couple of times I watched the OVAs because it's in the OVA as well, and I went back because in the OVAs it's a little bit more heavily implied because they only have so much time. That Diana was a Shiny Chariot fan.
Yeah.
Going back and in the beginning seeing her being just as excited as Akko is in the crowd, and then you wonder what happened there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it had everything to do with her family and the life that she lived, especially around families like Andrew's family. So, but in terms of whether she's jealous of Akko, I definitely think she is. Whether that scene was sort of, I don't know, maybe it goes back to she doesn't even realize that she is jealous, and so she doesn't know, and she's really confused because she's Diana Cavendish. Why should she be jealous?
She's always been the best.
Yeah,
been the best.
Why should she be jealous of Akko of all people? But she is, and she doesn't know why.
And I mean, she's suddenly realizing too that there's this whole new area that she does not have mastery of. She's used to knowing everything. She has been trained in every magic subject under the sun at this point. But here's this whole new fun kind of free-form approach to magic, and here's Akko solving a problem, solving a curse that no one even thought to say, oh, hey, is that a curse? We could probably help this poor ghost that likes eating our students. And so she's
knew?
So for the first time, someone is addressing like these ancient traditions and looking at them in a new way and kind of making her think, there's so much I don't know.
Critical thinking as opposed to knowing everything.
Yeah.
But while she's looking on, the announcer girl, whose name I never caught, unfortunately, says, oh, hey, we're going to be doing the Moonlit Witch thing soon. Don't worry, you probably got this. They broke the rules.
Yep.
I mean, I still don't get how they broke the rules just because they didn't follow the tradition. They never established that there were rules.
Exactly.
So hearing, oh, they broke the rules.
Yeah, and especially since early in the series, it's kind of been anything goes as long as you get from point A to point B. And we don't care how you do it.
Did they ever even establish what would qualify as making someone win this award in the first place?
No, they just said
Yeah.
that Chariot did this amazing summoning magic, and that got her the role.
Yeah.
Or that got her the title. So, meh?
Yeah, I guess we'll find out when
Whatever.
it finally comes back.
So while that's happening, we see Ursula looking on, and we see cubes. Just cubes coming into the hand of a person. It assembles into another cube and it vanishes away. Who is this person? And as it cuts, my notes say, no, not now. No.
It was one of those, are you serious right now? It's going to end right now.
It felt too soon.
Oh, 100%.
So, like even
that was it?
Yeah, like even if there was going to be a next episode and we were able to see it right now, that episode just it cut way too like at the wrong spot. Like, huh?
It flowed perfectly to the point where everything followed such a good beat that you didn't notice how long it was going. But it's the same length of every other episode.
Yeah.
It's crazy. It's nuts. So, we've got a little bit of time left, and I do want to talk a little bit about predictions, but we do have a tiny bit of AfterBuzz TV News.
AfterBuzz TV News.
So, over this past week, a new trailer for the Chamber of Time is the Japanese name. I'm sorry, I forget. But the Little Witch Academia game, which is going to be coming out in Japan this year and the U.S. next year, dropped a new trailer. So we're going to take a little bit of look at that, and we're going to talk over it because it's all in Japanese. So if you're watching this, if you're listening to this on iTunes, make sure to check us out on YouTube so that you can watch this with us. Let's take a look at this trailer. So we get a lot of looks from the series, and once we start to get, I would like to. I just want this game so bad. And it also makes me want to go back and rewatch the series again, though I wanted to do that already. I can assume that a lot of this was her being a student at Luna Nova and wanting to be like her idol, Shiny Chariot. And now we get into some gameplay, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah.
After this, yeah.
Title card.
I wish I spoke in red Japanese right now.
Yeah.
Right.
But I love the movements are so, they're clean, but they're also like a little bit like there's one frame missing here and there, and it makes it look really unique. It looks like the girls find this time portal, which looks like a giant grandfather clock, and it looks like some of the other portals that we've seen before. But we also get the reveal that Jasminka, first with this super attack, Constance with her super attack of summoning a Gundam,
Hell yeah.
and Amanda with a sweet fire spell are going to be joining the party, and now we have up to 6 characters that have been announced as party members.
And the magic gun is back.
The magic gun is back. Cerberus we see, presumably Cerberus. But it looks like there's exploration, there's a little bit of stealth, and a whole lot of action. So excited for this game, and the fact that I hope we don't have to wait too long after the release of it in Japan, but it's coming out exclusively to the PlayStation 4, and I want it. Oh, man.
I need to play it.
Yeah, I want to play it so bad.
I need it.
So now we're going to go into lightning fast predictions.
Your AfterBuzz TV
Because we got 5 minutes.
predictions.
Thank you. All right. So we've got 12 more episodes left. We have no idea when they're going to drop. Rumor is August, but it's like grain of salt rumors.
Yeah.
What do y'all want to see after this episode? Where do we want to go at Luna Nova?
I mean, I need to see Diana and Akko start working together to expand each other's horizons. They have so much to teach each other, and they both have such essential, important parts of what the magical community clearly needs right now, but they need to combine these efforts and turn it into something new and unique. I need it.
I want to see her find out that Ursula is Chariot, and I want to see them working together, because I think they work really well together, and that not only is Ursula / Chariot been able to help Akko, and is the only one who can really get through to her fully to help her, I think that they seem to work really well as a team, and I think that there's going to be some major problem, and that they should work together to fix it.
Yeah, no, agreed. A couple of times when we've predicted, like, oh, we want this to happen, we want that to happen, it usually happens in the next episode. So I would love it if episode 14, even, I don't know if it should start with the Moonlit Witch Festival, like the Moonlit Witch, like, crowning, or if it's like the day later.
We just,
and we find out who it is, like we did with the race, where it was, and Diana wins. So I don't think we need to see it. It would be cool to see it. But it felt like, with the little bit that they gave us of, you're going to win, don't worry. Maybe we'll see it, maybe we won't. But right after that, I want there to be a post-mortem discussion of how the event went, with Diana as the ringleader, and it's like, Akko, I need to talk to you privately. And it starts as a conversation of, oh, your thing, and now we don't have this event, and turns into the conversation that we wanted to have. It's going to be really hard not going to the internet and being a person who makes bad choices and watching illegal streams of this. But really quickly, on Twitter, Miraculous Corazon points out that it seems like we have been given a glimpse of the cube person. The intro of season 11 shows us a person in the shadows, like sitting on one of the tree branches. And it looks like their sleeve resembles the one that we saw. And then also in Akko's vision of all of the darkness and the terrible things. Those two people have similar character designs. So now we have to go back and watch all of that, and you should watch the OVAs.
Now I will.
And speaking of the OVAs, I know they are standalone stories, but I would love it if they, and we've seen that as as fans of the franchise, but if we had some version of the stories that happened in the OVA interpreted into the series, I think that would be a fun way to check them, even if it's like a like not even the full plot of an episode, but if it's just, oh, here we're gonna have this labyrinth. Oh, it's time for the parade. Because why not? Did I say season 11? I'm sorry. Episode 11. There will be 11 seasons of the show, and I'm not going to be mad.
Could you?
Akko goes to college.
Yeah, seriously. Man.
Still be watching.
This, I just, as a sort of a wrap-up, I have been a fan of this franchise ever since it first dropped on... I don't even know where the OVA first dropped. I think it was Crunchyroll, and then Netflix picked it up, and then we got the second one that was kickstarted, and now we have this series. And I love this world. I love this show. It's one of my favorites because it's a break from all of the stuff that I usually like to watch when it comes to anime, and it's just such a delight, and I'm so happy that we got a chance to do this. And thank you so much for joining me for this show. I'm really happy that we got to do this together. And Megan Salinas, who joined us for episodes 1 through 4, is really happy to have her here as well. But any final words, final thoughts about Little Witch Academia before we take a break for the season?
I'm just so glad something this happy and lighthearted, can exist and be something we get to watch. And let's hope Netflix gifts us with some more very soon.
I agree.
I just want to see more. That's all I have to say. And yeah, I just really, I am fascinated by the different characters, especially people like Diana, who are, generally are good, but there could be some deep, dark secret we don't know. So I just want to know more, and I want to see them quickly. Yeah. August can't get here soon enough. I hope that's true.
And I totally agree. Eastman's calling for a live-action Little Witch show, which I wouldn't be totally against if you did it right. I wonder if, like, Netflix acquiring the Little Witch franchise, make a live-action Little Witch show. An English live-action Little Witch show that's just fun magic stuff.
That could be really cute.
Especially because while it is kind of Japanese, it's not entirely Japanese. It's still the magical world, and it's still a whole bunch of different cultures coming together, and a lot of references to Western animation anyway. I don't think it would be that weird to...
Yeah, they've set it up to be very diverse. I think it would be a pretty easy transition.
I'm a fan. All right. So this has been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much, everybody, for watching. Let's give some shout-outs real quick. Miraculous Corazon, Eastman, A. Kassad, P.W. Gregory, Caitlin Geddes. Did I already? I did say Corazon. And all of the people that have joined us live throughout these past 4 weeks. It's been absolutely amazing. I said it before and I'll say it again. We want more anime on AfterBuzz TV. We are currently talking about some things moving forward that will make it a little bit easier for that to happen. So please follow us all on Twitter. Follow AfterBuzz on Twitter. AfterBuzz TV on Twitter for more of those updates. And just as a little bit of tease, we're working on something with Little Witch Academia that may have us back sooner than the announcement of the second half of Season 1. Get hyped, because if this happens, I think we'll all be a little bit shinier. So, before we go, let everybody know what other shows you're on, where they can find you on Twitter, etc. Rachel.
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Rach Goodman, or on Facebook at Rachel Ann Goodman. I am also on the weekly wrap-up of Young and the Restless with Abby Scott. Or you can find me on Mondays for just 2 more weeks hosting the show Gypsy.
Excellent. Stacey.
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Stacey Shuttleworth, or all across the web at Nerds Doing Stuff, where I'm a nerd doing stuff. I'm also doing a show later on tonight with Mark. We have a weekly video game show called Inventory Full. So be sure to join us there.
Yes, make sure to join us on Inventory Full. Tonight we're going to be talking about Comic-Con, the Destiny 2 beta. We already talked about Little Witch here, but just, why not? More of an excuse to talk about it. As well as what our games looking forward to the second half of 2017, what we're going to be looking for. So that's on the Popcorn Tot Network tonight at 6. Make sure to join us there. Follow me at Mark Donica. I do a lot of wrestling content here, wrestling stuff. Voltron is coming back in a couple of weeks. I'm super excited to be a part of that show. We interviewed a lot of folks over at San Diego Comic-Con. Check out all of our Comic-Con coverage. We had a lot of stuff if you're a fan of different Netflix series, Marvel series, ABC, all sorts of stuff. Check all of that out. Thank you so much for watching the Little Witch Academia After Show. We are so grateful that you joined us, and we will see you back in Luna Nova next semester.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV Network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz ya later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.